You're watching Caribbean Today on YouTube. The Republic of Guyana, a small nation with vast new oil wealth and outsized geopolitical importance, now finds itself hurtling into political crisis. The opposition has drawn its line in the sand. The ruling party is preparing to celebrate victory, and the very credibility of the electoral system hangs in the balance. At the center of the storm stands Aubrey Norton, the fiery leader of the coalition opposition, a partnership for national unity, or APNU. Norton has delivered a letter to the Guyana Elections Commission, better known as GCOM, and his demands could not be more plain. Do not declare the election results, not now, not before a full forensic audit, and perhaps not at all without a brand new national vote. In his missive addressed directly to GCOM's chair, retired Justice Claudette Singh, Norton calls for what he describes as the last line of defense against fraud, a forensic audit of every aspect of the election. Ballots, statements of poll, electoral rolls, ballot boxes, all of it, he insists, must be placed under the microscope before Guyana can call these elections legitimate. The stakes, he argues, are existential. Ultimately, APNU requests that you intervene immediately to direct the Commission not to declare the election results before the completion of a forensic audit of electoral data, including electors' votes, and or order that fresh elections are now due in light of the circumstances. This was no private appeal. Norton ensured his words reached beyond Guyana's borders. Copies of the letter were dispatched to British High Commissioner Jane Miller, American Ambassador Nicole Theriot, Canadian High Commissioner Sebastian Seguin, and the heads of regional and international observer missions. By doing so, Norton escalated the domestic dispute into a matter of international scrutiny. On the other side, the ruling People's Progressive Party Civic, the PPPC, has wasted no time in declaring itself victorious. By its count, the party has secured 36 of the 65 seats in Guyana's National Assembly. Its tally, 242,498 votes. In comparison, APNU managed 77,928, while a new political force, the We Invest in Nationhood Party, led by controversial businessman Azruddin Mohammed, garnered a surprising 109,066 votes. Smaller parties such as the Forward Guyana Movement, the Alliance for Change, and the Assembly for Liberty and Prosperity trailed with only a few thousand each. For President Irfan Ali, who now stands on the cusp of a second five-year term, the opposition's protests amount to little more than theatrics. He has publicly dismissed Norton's demands as nonsense and ridiculous, declaring that the people have spoken and that the ruling party has been handed a clear mandate to continue governing. Ali, a trained economist with close ties to the oil sector, struck back hard at the opposition. The life of this country is important, he said during a visit to GCOM's headquarters, and the people continue to see who plays with the life of this country, who plays with the life of the citizens, who don't care anything about the citizens and the development of this country. The PPPC insists the process was fair, pointing out that international observers have not reported evidence of fraud. Their message is clear. The election is over and the business of governing must continue. But Norton is not backing down. In his letter, he paints a grim picture of a process riddled with irregularities. He cites presiding officers who failed to sign statements of poll, election staff who ignored procedures enshrined in the Representation of the People Act, and polling agents who were denied certified copies of official results. He raises the specter of ballot box tampering, alleging that the very containers holding the people's votes may have been compromised. He references the report of the European Union Observer Mission, already public, as evidence that the elections were tilted from the start. The EU's findings, he says, validate APNU's charge that the polls were neither free nor fair. Among the criticisms, the PPPC's overwhelming advantage of incumbency, an uneven playing field in the media, and recount processes tainted by bias. Norton claims the people's confidence in the electoral system has been shattered. He warns that GCOM itself, through negligence and even conspiracy, has become complicit in what he calls the deliberate abrogation of the will of the Guyanese people. The crisis is not confined to rhetoric. On Friday, GCOM attempted to convene a meeting to move the process forward. It never happened. The reason? The three commissioners aligned with the opposition simply did not show up. Without them, there was no quorum, no declaration, and no resolution. Says Gunrach, a commissioner allied with the PPPC, accused the opposition of sabotaging the system. We have turned up to this meeting, he told reporters, and there has been a no-show by three commissioners. Yet the Constitution provides a way forward. If no quorum exists, the Commission can reconvene 24 hours later, and any four commissioners, along with the chair, may make a decision. That means the results could still be declared as early as Saturday evening, paving the way for President Ali to be sworn in without further delay. The political showdown unfolds under the looming shadow of oil. Since ExxonMobil's discoveries in 2019, Guyana has transformed almost overnight from one of the poorest nations in South America into one of its fastest growing economies. Billions of barrels of crude lie beneath Guyana's waters, catapulting the country onto the world stage and quadrupling its national budget. With just 800,000 people, Guyana now boasts one of the highest levels of proven oil reserves per capita in the world. But this blessing has bred bitterness. Opposition parties accuse the PPPC of unfairly distributing the spoils, enriching allies while leaving ordinary citizens behind. The ruling party denies the charge, but resentment lingers, adding fuel to the fire of electoral distrust. As Rudin Mohammed, leader of the We Invest in Nationhood party, has become a new and unpredictable player in this drama. His party, WIN, stunned observers by securing more than 100,000 votes in its very first election. Mohammed has decried irregularities, even as he hailed his party's strong showing as evidence that Guyana's political establishment has been shaken to its core. As if domestic strife were not enough, the election was nearly overshadowed by international conflict. On the eve of the vote, Guyanese police reported that a boat carrying election officials and ballot boxes was fired upon from the Venezuelan side of the contested Essequibo River. Caracas denied involvement, but the timing was chilling. The Essequibo dispute, an oil-rich border conflict between Venezuela and Guyana, has simmered for decades, and the recent discoveries have turned it into a flashpoint. For Guyanese citizens, the shooting underscored the fragile, perilous moment their nation is in, threatened abroad and fractured at home. For now, the country waits. GCOM is poised to declare the results. The PPPC is ready to celebrate victory, but Norton and the APNU insist the election must be aborted, that the people have been betrayed, and that democracy itself is under siege. The world is watching closely. The United States, Britain, Canada, and international organizations have already been drawn into the dispute. Oil wealth, foreign investment, and regional stability all hang in the balance. Guyana's young democracy now faces its greatest test. Will it emerge intact with the PPPC firmly in charge and the opposition forced to regroup? Or will Norton's campaign to delegitimize the vote unleash a prolonged period of political unrest? What is certain is this: the story is far from over. The people of Guyana, their leaders, and the international community now stand at a crossroads. And the choices made in the coming days will echo not just in Georgetown, but across the entire hemisphere. For Guyana, the question is no longer simply who governs. It is whether the nation's democratic institutions can withstand the pressure of oil, power, and political ambition, and whether the fragile promise of its future can survive the storm. At CaribbeanToday.com, we cover your world.